guys, welcome to VintageGenetics, where it's all about classic bodybuilding. But let's get to the point of this video, which is the Q&A, questions and answers. And you guys have submitted a lot of questions to me in the previous leg video, and I've wrote out 4 pages of questions, so I'm not sure I'll be able to answer all of them, but maybe I'll do 2 different parts of this Q&A, so let's get started. Question number 1. Jose Mota asks, how do I get my calves like those and my traps as well? I already answered this question in a previous video about the calves, but to sum it up, do 1 standing calf raise and 1 seated calf raise, and at least one of them has to be a lot of volume, at least 15 reps. I like to do 21s, and one has to be heavy reps. So 1 standing, 1 sitting, and 1 heavy and 1 volume. So you have got 2 very different exercises and use full range of motion. I'll probably make a separate video on calves because a lot of people have issues with getting them big. FidzMaji asks, what do you typically do for forearm training, like exercises? Well, you basically only have to do 2 exercises, which is the wrist curl, just a regular curl like this with your wrists like that for this part of the forearm, and then turn your wrist around and go up for the top part of your forearm. And just do 2 different like this with a barbell, hold 2 hands like that and use a dumbbell, and the same goes with the top of the forearm. So it's only 4 exercises is plenty enough, and I would just add them in when doing arms once a week if you have weak forearms. There's no need to really hammer them because you indirectly work them during the other exercises like on back day and arm day anyway. John M asks, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? That's the first question. I've never done it before, but intermittent fasting is basically when you spend 10 plus hours, I believe, without food, and then start eating your meals in a condensed amount of time. And some people even work out without having eaten anything for hours. But I wake up with very hungry stomach. So that's not really for me. But sometimes you go to bed at 10 a.m. or at 10 p.m. I mean. You wake up at 10 p.m. and that's 12 hours you haven't eaten, so it's kind of a form of intermittent fasting, but I wake up with a lot of hunger in the morning. So I don't know what my thoughts on it are, but for me it's not necessary. But if it works for different people, give it a shot. But when I'm hungry, I eat. And second question, how to manage my macros while I'm cutting like high protein, no carbs, medium fats. I suggest when you're bulking, usually the highest macronutrient you're taking in are the carbs. So like they did in the old days, like Arnold did, Tom Platz did, Frankie Colombo did, all they did was lower the carbohydrate intake. So the fats, and even increase the fats and the protein a little bit to compensate for the loss, because sometimes the carb intake would be half of what they normally take. So you can take a little more protein to keep the muscle there, to not lose the muscle. And fats also play an important role in with fat-soluble vitamins and hormones, and actually in keeping the muscle preserved while cutting. So I would suggest lowering the carbs and upping the fats and protein until there's about 250 calories difference from your bulking food intake. So go 250 calories lower. Wow, I'm not sure if I'm able to pronounce this name, man. Eugene I see Wong, and that's the best I'm gonna, that's the best I'm gonna do. Hi Wesley, my muscles on my left arm and right arm are a bit unbalanced because I have been playing tennis for a long time. Do you think I should build more muscle mass and size first and then balance the arms out, or do you think balancing them should take priority? You really shouldn't be thinking too complicated about things like this. When one arm is stronger than the other, you start out with your weak arm. So when your right arm is stronger and your left arm is a little weaker, you always start out with left. So do a lot of exercises that involve individual arm work. So, you wouldn't want to do lat pull downs, but you would want to do dumbbell rows or a hammer strength pull down where you can pull the weight with one arm and then use the other arm and start out with your weakest arm. So for example, if your left arm can do 8 reps, and then it's just your weak arm, and then you go to your right arm, and you can feel, at the 8th rep, you can still do 4 more reps, but you still gotta stop. Even though there's still gas left in the tank, you gotta stop at the 8th rep so that you don't, further push the imbalance of the arms. All right, next question. Kiko the Great asks, my question is, how was your recent competition? Which was it? How did you place and what motivation did you get out of it? So, some of you may have known that I was planning on doing a competition. And the competition was the Dutch Nationals. So the national, basically the highest level of amateur bodybuilding in the Netherlands. And I was gonna partake in it and do the junior class and the 100, the super heavyweight class, basically, the heaviest weight class. But I didn't end up doing it, even though I got very lean. As you can see, I'm still pretty lean from dieting down and the cardio that I did for it. I did prepare months for it, I've made a couple of videos a few months ago, leading up to the show, telling you guys about it, that I was gonna do a video series, and I was planning to capture backstage footage, and but in the end I wasn't able to compete. And long story short, of course I'm very disappointed because up to the day of the competition I still was intending to compete, and I did prepare myself for it for months, but I don't like staying in the past. This was just a setback, and I'm just gonna continue, and I will be doing another competition, but this time, you will see it yourself when I'm going to do it. It's gonna take a couple of months for me. I'm gonna build my muscle up again. I'm gonna stay lean though, so don't worry. But I might show you guys how to lean bulk, and actually show you literally how my body changes when I'm lean bulking. So to make a long story short, why wasn't I able to compete? About a month before the competition, there was a new zero tolerance rule implanted, and I'm going to show you the official document of that rule right here. And it's in Dutch, but I'll translate it for you. So that's what it says, and that's the reason I was disqualified, officially disqualified from the competition. And you guys be the judge. You have seen my videos, you've seen my pictures, and I was a favorite in the competition for my class, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm just gonna move on. I'm not gonna dwell in the past. I don't like that. I've got great people around me, great sponsors, just very nice people, very supportive people, especially my family, my coach. All of them will keep helping me to achieve greatness, to achieve the golden era bodybuilding dream, and to get the classic bodybuilding message out there. And that's my ultimate goal. So I won't stop competing, of course, because I will rectify this some way or another. And you will be seeing me on stage this year. That's what I can tell you. And then you guys will be up for a treat, because I already now know exactly what to do to diet down for a show, the cardio, the food, the supplements, everything has been combined. And now I can do it again, but better. So the next prep will start in a few months, but I'll keep being lean, so it's gonna be even easier for me. And I'm gonna keep doing the cardio, but as I said, I will explain that in the lean bulking video that I'll be doing. So I hope I informed you guys enough about this, and you be the judge. You know, I'm happy enough with the support I've been getting from you guys. You know, VintageGenetics is really growing, and that's, you know, I get a lot of positivity out of that, out of your comments. You are the most important judge to me. So, all right. Next question. Dre Breezy asks, if I'm trying to keep a male physique appearance, is it worth bulking up a little to gain mass and then cut back down to where you were before? You know, so he wants to keep, a slim physique, like a mass physique. I've got I think an example right here, and he's wondering if bulking up is worth it. To me, always a clean bulk is the best way to go. You know, you stay lean, you keep your physique good looking. You know, you can always see your abs, all the muscle separation, just a little less than contest shape, of course. But so yes, it's definitely worth it as long as you do a clean bulk. You know, only go about 250 calories above your caloric needs, and very slowly gain the weight and do a lot of compound movements and some detail work. For example, the concentration curl, the side lateral raise, doing just a lot of, and you focus on the pump and the burn with those exercises, the contraction, but always start out with compound movements during your bulk, so you can really bulk up some extra muscle mass without really gaining that much fat. But again, the lean bulking video will explain it all, at least what I think the right way is. Matthew Greenfield asks, at what stage in your life did you start to become interested in golden era bodybuilding? Was there a specific moment that made you fall in love with it from memory? Who or what is your biggest motivation and inspiration in your personal life that keeps you going? Oh, there's a lot of questions, but I'll start with the first. So what interested me in golden era bodybuilding? Well, when I did my first competition, the very first one, and here's a picture of it, I already was being compared to, you know, a classic, you know, to the 70s, to the 80s, to the physiques from the golden era, but not anyone in specific, because my muscle mass simply wasn't there yet to be able to be compared to, for example, Arnold or Franco or Tom Platzer, you know. Second competition where I gained, quite a lot of weight, I knew what to do, and I was looking a lot bigger, and I was starting to be, I did classic poses as well, which I'll show you right here. Poses like this really made them compare me to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and there was even an article in the Dutch Muscle and Fitness of me being compared to the Oak, being called the Dutch Oak, and that was 2014, and really from that moment on I started to embrace it. When people start comparing you without even putting it out there yourself, then you really, you can't do anything else but embrace it, because I've always loved the physiques of the 70s and 80s, but I've never really done anything with it, never really looked up what they ate, what they did during the workouts. All I did was, I saw Pumping Iron, for example, where Arnold Schwarzenegger won his 1975 Mr. Olympia. But when I started to dig deep and look at how they trained, the basics, the food, the nutrition, basic exercises, the way they trained, the hardcore feeling, the gyms, it all just fits right into who I am. And when I tried that out, what they did, and I saw the gains, and I saw the classic physique emerge from myself, that's when I started to embrace it and made the channel VintageGenetics. And I'm very happy that I did, because it has turned out to be something amazing, and I'm pretty sure that in the future, the message will be spread even further. So, next question. Marcus Kanix asks, what's your tanning routine? Do you use any specific products? Your tan look awesome, perfect balance, not too light, not too dark. Well, thank you. The tanning, my usual tanning routine is go to the tanning bed, or the solarium, or whatever it's called in English, and I start out with 2 times a week under the weakest tanning bed, so just to get used to the ultraviolet rays, because you got to build up your resistance to them, and I use a cream that enhances the effect of the tanning bed, and after a while you've built up kind of a base and you can go stronger and stronger and stronger, but the maximum I always do is 20 minutes, and it really gives you a nice deep tan after a while. And then you just gotta go one time a week, 15 minutes, and that's all you need really. And keep your skin moisturized. Use a moisturizer too, and that way your skin will look different even with the same tan. So that's my recommendation. And he asks, what kind of music do you prefer to listen to while doing exercises? I'm not sure if you guys are into it, but I like metal, hard rock, heavy metal. Bands like Disturbed, Sonic Syndicate, Bring Me the Horizon, Bullet for My Valentine, Asking Alexandria, A Day to Remember, even Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit. I kind of like the old school new metal as well. And anything with hard rock or metal I like to listen to while working out, But I also like the old school hip hop and rap music that they play at the gym. So either one of those is good to me. Lohim Aron asks, what exercises can I implement to target my outer quad sweep? And what I suggest that you do is learn how to do the Tom Platz hack squat. And that to me is the best exercise you can possibly do for the outer sweep, and I'll show you a short fragment right here of me doing it. And what you see is that I push my knees outwards, and basically I stand on my toes to get the stress off the knees really, and to go as deep as you possibly can, and you push your legs outwards and really focus on the outer part of your legs. And you can actually do quite a lot of weight this way without feeling any joint pain at all. And this is what Tom Platz used to do, and we all know how his legs looked. And another tip would be to point your toes inwards on the leg extension. This will target the outer portion of your quads as well, but it's just a little detail. You build the most mass with regular squats, hack squats, and you can add detail work like a Tom Platz squat and the leg extension I just recommended. Julian Coaron asks, what rep range do you recommend for bulking and when cutting? Okay, when cutting, a lot of people say the opposite, but I like to increase the volume when cutting. So I like to do pyramid style sets. So first you start out with 15 reps. That's your first set. Then you do 12, 10, 8, and 6. Usually the 6 depends on regular arm exercises. I don't include the 6, only on the bench press, the lat pull down, the squat. That heavy compounds I include the 6. But the main difference between the cutting and bulking volume is that when bulking, I also do pyramid style, but I start with 12, 8, 6, 4. So you can go heavier, it's a little less volume, because when bulking, you're able to move a lot of weight. You've got the strength, you've got the weight, and you've got the tools to build muscle. And weight, the 12 reps gives you just enough volume to pump the muscle up, and the 4 reps and the 6 and the 4 reps are really intended to increase your strength, and combining those two is the recipe for muscle building. And when cutting, you're not really aiming to build muscle, but you want to keep working the muscle, but you want to also lose the most amount of calories without losing any muscle size at all. So you want to keep stimulating those muscles, but because you're doing more work, you can also eat more. So you can up your protein, for example, And I also like to combine this with cardio, so you will actually still keep losing fat. But so that's the main difference between the rep range between bulking and cutting. Raoul12441 asks, please tell us about supplements you take and recommend. Well, I'm gonna keep it simple right now. The supplements I'm using, first of all, omega-3. Is this mirrored? I don't know. Omega-3, guys. It's to support your lipid profiles, your cholesterol in your blood. It's just very good, keeps your blood nice and thin, you know. Lowers your blood pressure, and it's just a very important essential fatty acid to include in your diet. And you know, if you don't have the money to buy supplements like this, even though it's expensive, you can also buy salmon. But in the end, adding this to your diet is recommended. Then we've got CLAs, and it's called CLA, but it's basically a modified version of omega-6 to be able to be absorbed in your body easier. And the balance between omega-3s and CLAs, omega-6, should be equal. You know, it should be a balance between them because they need each other to achieve tasks in your body. And this also helps with blood lipid profiles and the benefits I just mentioned. So, you know, just taking omega-3s is basically not going to do as much as combining it with CLA or omega-6. Then, what I like to do is also Omega Daily 1. It's a multivitamin. It contains, you know, every single vitamin and mineral that you need. Almost all of them are above the daily recommended intake, so you will get enough of them. So sometimes, on some days, you might be missing 1 or 2 vitamins and minerals. So using a multivitamin will always ensure that you take in everything. But to be honest, if you eat enough vegetables, enough fruits, if you eat whole grains, if you eat brown rice, if you're able to do all that, you're probably just fine. But I like to add this because when you're a bodybuilder training 7 days a week and doing cardio, you might be deficient in 1 or 2 minerals that you cannot really figure out. You know, you can't really find out which ones they are. So taking something like this will always have you covered. And it's just a good feeling to know that you have enough in your system. And always take this. I take it with when you're eating a vegetable or fruit-rich meal, because then it's absorbed the most efficient. And then we've also got another amino acid called leucine. And I wanted to try this one out because there was a lot of research on what this does, you know, what amino acid would be most beneficial when you're cutting down. So when you do your morning cardio, you still want to ensure that you keep all the muscle that you still have and just burn the fat, I suggest using something like an amino acid like leucine, which is one of the most effective amino acids in retaining your muscle mass while cutting down. But right now I'm not using it because I'm eating a little more, but I have been using this up until a week ago, so our recommendation when you're cutting is this one. When you're doing morning cardio, when you're not having anything in your system. And lastly, I'm also using whey isolate. And you guys, if you're wondering what the difference is between regular whey protein concentrate and whey isolate, is that they kind of got, for me the most important part is that they got rid of the lactose. This is a more purified version of whey. It has more protein, less carbs, and not a gram of lactose in there. And I notice that when I eat lactose-rich foods, which are in a lot of dairy products, that I just, I'm getting a little more bloated. You just don't feel as good. You know, your stomach isn't as flat. Your skin is getting a little oily, a little thick, compared to when you don't eat lactose, which I experienced while doing my competition prep, just rice, broccoli, and fish. So an isolate whey to me works better than whey concentrate. So, and I take it in the morning with my oatmeal because I simply like the taste, and then I already have my protein in. And I take it after working out, just 1 scoop with Vitargo, also by Physique Nutrition. But that's not really, you can also take dextrose if you want. And of course, I also use creatine monohydrate. And if you buy it from a reputable brand like Physique Nutrition, if you buy creatine monohydrate, that's fine. You don't need to look for anything else. Creatine monohydrate works just as well as any other form of creatine, except the price is the lowest, so I would go with the simplest form, and you use 5 grams a day. Well, I'm gonna do one more question for you guys. Araz asks, how do you avoid getting stretch marks? Your skin looks absolutely flawless. Well, thank you, but I've had a lot of stretch marks. Maybe you can even still see them right here. You can't see them when I'm just relaxed, but when you stretch it out, you can definitely see the stretch marks, and you cannot prevent them. All you can do is help recover them. They turn very red when you get them the first time, but good news is that they will change color, resembling your own skin color over time, regardless. But what I suggest is adding something to moisturize that skin, that area right there, so it can recover faster, so your skin is able to absorb nutrients and get rid of toxins and just make the skin more flexible there. So use coconut oil or argan oil, or any kind of cream that moisturizes your skin. Put it there. For example, when you know that you've got stretch marks right here, which is from doing chest, every time you do chest, put some moisturizing cream or oil. You can also, this is the worst one actually, but when you've got a lot of muscle, you can just stand like this. No one is gonna notice. But everyone got stretch marks, guys, especially on the back, as well. As you can see, very, very long one. But it really, you can barely see it when you don't tell people. But now you guys know, so I'll be self-conscious for the rest of my life. But guys, those were the questions for today, and I think I'm gonna do a part 2, which might be up tomorrow. Guys, I just want to thank you so much for supporting the channel, liking the videos, the comments I'm getting. I try to, this one thing I still want to tell you guys, at first I was able to answer any comment I got on my Facebook, Instagram, and especially YouTube, but every time I log in now, there are over 100 comments on every single social media that I'm not able to answer all of them. Sometimes it even takes up to an hour to just go through all the comments and answer them, so respond to them. And I still try to answer the most basic questions, but I cannot get to all of them. But that's just, to me it's something positive, because the more comments the better, in my opinion. And I love interacting with you guys, so keep posting your comments and I'll try to answer them, of course, try to respond to them. And I just want to thank you again for watching the channel. And as always, don't forget to stay golden, guys.